Welcome back, Sarah Noquette here, and I am so excited that you're joining me. If you're here, you are probably a service-based support provider. That is my guess, and you are here to either learn more about building your team, learn more about becoming more profitable, learn more about building out systems in your business. If that is you, you are definitely in the right place. So as promised, I wanted to do a little video here around my rebrand. Now, not so much a rebrand, more of a, I guess, an up brand, because our Sarah Noquette OBM brand has been around for a while, and we recently added on, actually not so recently, 2 years ago, we started to build out OBM School, and that has been quite a journey. And in the last week, we finally went live with our brand new website. Yes, if I had confetti, I would throw it up in the air right now, but I would love for you to head on over there and check it out. It has been an absolute baby birthed of me and my team, and we are so proud of it and so proud of this simplicity and finally having our website. So it's not as if we haven't had our website or some remnants of OBM School. A lot of you have been in our certification program or you've joined us inside of Accelerator. But the truth is that we had a long list of priorities, and as somebody with a very lean and mean team, I had to make sure that our interests were spent on the most important things. So from a priority perspective, we really started with our members area. So building out our members area on the subdomain of members.obmschool.com was the first thing that we basically did, moving over some of our older programs, building out new programs, and so on. That journey never really ends, but having that place where we could house our trainings was the most important thing for me, for my team, and making sure that that was as integrated as humanly possible with our customer relationship management tool, Entreport, which really speaks back and forth between, our clients, what they're purchasing, what they're interested in, as well as what they have access to inside the members area. So automation is the name of the game. If you guys have clients that have members areas, you know how important it is for the customer relationship management tool, the CRM, to speak to that beautiful members area. So that was what we were working on, and that was quite a big undertaking, the testing and the development. And because we have students who are in the certification, in the accelerator, have maybe purchased some of our legacy programs, they all have different access points. So we needed to make sure that we had that locked down. And then the second piece of the puzzle for us was the sales pages. So making sure that the sales pages were properly branded with our OBM School colors and logos and all that jazz. That was our next undertaking. Not as serious as building out the members area, but nonetheless extremely important to make sure that those were on brand. And then the third piece was moving over lead magnets, rebranding lead magnets, building out new webinars for you guys and free trainings so that we could generate leads into our OBM School and ultimately into programs if it's the right fit for that particular person. So the rebrand in actuality has really been going on for the last 2 years. It really has been quite the adventure for me and for my team. And there have been many times where my team has to tell me no, or times where I am going through my perfectionism procrastination loop and the team has to say to me, no, Sarah, we're not going to change that because these were the goals that we set. This is what we need to accomplish and we are on track to get there. So you, my love, are not going to derail us. And I was like, you tell me no, I like that. So that has been really fun, and it's been really great to have a killer team by my side to make all this happen. Of course, we did use somebody to design our website, but I'm lucky in that a lot of my team members, unlike myself, are more of a graphic design background. So Tovi, my OBM director of OBM School, she is very much an artsy fartsy. So she has that design background, and that's just been really wonderful for me to fully hand that over to her. So thank you, Tovi. Now, I want to talk a little bit about my lessons learned over these last couple of years, because it has been quite a journey, and I feel like I'm finally able to take a deep breath, and it's done. It is out in the world, and I'm really excited about the future of OBM School, the ability to collaborate with OBMs in our community to make this program and the school as amazing and incredible and as up-to-date and relevant as possible, because heads up, our digital world changes very, very quickly. I've been hinting at this the whole time, and my first big lesson was that done is better than perfect. And that has always been my motto, by the way. Done is better than perfect. However, when it is something that you are displaying and it is sort of showcasing the rest of the business, there's this hesitance, there's this wanting to make it perfect. So I really had to resist the wanting to make everything perfect. And part of how I did that was really reminding myself about the money that I was leaving on the table. By not having a proper OBM School website, people were, yes, visiting our, accelerator webpage or the certification webpage, and then perhaps looking for more information and finding more pages, because we did have a lot of pages live, but not one main website that housed everything. So there was money being left on the table. And this is so important if you're an OBM, an online business manager, or another service-based support provider, and you don't have somewhere to send that potential client that showcases your beautiful business online, then you are leaving money on the table by not having a storefront. Yes. So let that be a very strong motivating factor in helping you to overcome that loop of perfectionism, procrastination, and just get it done. You will see that our website is a one-pager. Yes, we have, the directory and sales pages, so it's not completely a one-pager, but the whole design of the website covers all of the things that we want to say in one big juicy page. So that to me was very much intentional, and I wanted to just release this. And if we decide in future that maybe we want to build out a bigger about page, or maybe we want to build out a bigger programs page, we can do that. But for now, we have something that works perfectly, which brings me to my next piece, and that is focus on simplicity. I want to say here that for the last 2 years, it's not like I didn't own the URL for OBM School. We had that. We used it as a vanity URL. At times we directed it to the info session. At times we directed it to different lead magnets or sales pages, depending on what we were promoting. So we've always used that URL. So if you are a service-based support provider and you haven't got a full website, well, one of the things that you can do in the interim to keep it simple is to use that URL. So maybe you're like me and you like to use sarahnoket.com. That's what I always use and what I continue to use in my OBM agency. But if you have a URL, redirect it to your discovery call intake form. So at the very least, you can say to a potential client, hey, go to sarahnoket.com, and then they end up there and they see that, oh, there's this maybe a little bit of a description, a little bit of an about, hey, I'm so happy that you're reaching out to hop on a discovery call with me. I've been an online business manager for X amount of time, and I was certified with OBM School, and so on and so forth. And then you can have your nice little form there, and that can be just an easy peasy website for you for the meantime until you have a bigger website that you're building out. But keep it really simple. You don't have to have everything be perfect right away. Like I said, it took us 2 years to get to here, and things are still not 100% perfect, but done. So you want to focus on just keeping it simple. So the next big lesson that I learned is that I need to set up very clear goals for my team in order for them to hold me accountable. This is so interesting because for so many years, I've been working as an online business manager, but coupled with that, I also have my own business and my own team where I have an OBM on my team who reports to me. So I have this dual, am I the OBM? Am I, the CEO? Am I all of the above? And with our OBM clients and things that we really, nail down inside of our programs is about leadership and about leading the client and about making sure that the client is very clear on their goals so that you can hold them accountable. With projects, with launches, especially, it's so important as a project manager to have clear expectations and goals set around the project. So when it came to the website, one of the core things that I was proactive enough to set a goal around was this concept of collaboration, which is a huge part of OBM School. By no means do I want to portray myself as the OBM who knows everything and who has experience with everything. I recognize that in the last few years, OBM is becoming more of an industry, just like VA became more of an industry, and it's growing. And there are OBMs who specialize in different things. Like we have OBMs that specialize in podcast production. We have OBMs that specialize in launch. We have OBMs that specialize in very specific things. So when it came to OBM School and setting some goals of what we wanted to achieve with the website, it was really about highlighting this concept of collaboration. And so when I started to give my team some pushback naturally around my perfectionism procrastination loop, they were able to bring me back to the goals that I had set to begin with and say, you know what, Sarah, I hear you. And remember when we talked about focusing on collaboration and highlighting all of these things, that's why we can't derail to this. And it put me back into focus. So make sure that if you have a team, if you have accountability partner in your world, that you absolutely bring them into this. If you need someone to hold you accountable for getting something done or hold you accountable so that you don't derail on one of your ideas, you absolutely need to bake that in place. It needs to be one of the first things that you do. So the fourth really big thing that came up for me as I was working through this branding of OBM School and coming out with the website and, dotting the T's and crossing the I's. Dotting the I's and crossing the T's, I realized something, and that is that you need to own it. So we are behind the scenes people. Yes, that is very true. And we're very used to helping others with their automations, building out their websites, managing their projects. We're not really necessarily comfortable being that personal brand. But one of the things that I realized is that OBM School really is an extension of the Sarah Noquette OBM personal brand that we have been building over the last decade. And OBM School is so close to my heart because it resonates so much with my why, which is really about supporting service-based support providers, really take it to the next level with regard to profitability, with regard to freedom and meaning in their business, and working with the right clients and all of those things, having it all buttoned up and being able to financially have a business that really supports you and lets you live your life by design, whether that be spending more time with your kids or having more time to be, working remotely, whatever that looks like. That's really my why. So birthing this OBM School website really ties back to owning it and owning my why and making sure that I lead with the most authentic self that I can. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that the last 2 years has been very much a transitional point for me. I've been training online service-based support providers for many years under my Sarah Noquette brand, but coming out with OBM School and putting my stake in the ground as a trainer that values collaboration, values making sure that the programs that I am putting forth are really bringing together the most up-to-date information about becoming an online business manager. And I have really, really owned it through this transition. And I never felt that I would feel this way when it was all said and done, but I really do feel like I have birthed this amazing baby, my number 4, out into the world. And I do hope that you enjoy it. I hope that this inspires you to take the bull by the horns on whatever you have been procrastinating about, whatever you have been in that loop of perfectionism, procrastination. It's like such a tongue twister. So I really invite you to stop procrastinating and focus on the goals around why that project needs to birth itself and really make it so meaningful for you. Now, I really invite you to check that out. Let me know in the comments what you think, and stay tuned next week for when we release another video. I'll see you then.